You guys ever get in a bad mood? You ever go through a bad day out there? I've never had one of these before. This is the first time as a YouTuber. My life is perfect outside of YouTube. I have no issues whatsoever. I'm joking, of course. But no, I actually am kind of frustrated by the latest reports on the iPhone 12 because, I don't know, the two biggest features we thought were coming are just not, And this is on top of Apple already taking out the charger, taking out the headphones from the box, redoing the packaging to look really cool. Anyway, I want to talk about some iPhone 12 rumors that have rustled my jimmies, but not in the good way today. So drop a like if you guys are excited, hit subscribe for more, and let's just go ahead and jump in. Let's just do it, guys. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I love this. Where's my phone? Can somebody get me my phone? First up, a screen on the iPhone this year is supposed to be, or was supposed to be, a 120 hertz promotion display. This is something to be clear that Samsung, OnePlus, I believe Google as well, they've all figured it out on their screens. They've all been able to get their 60 hertz panels on the phone to go to 120 hertz, have it be really high quality, but also not have an insane impact on battery life. Because what the 120 hertz refresh rate means is it's essentially refreshing twice as much as the normal iPhone screens that we're used to. Apple has this on a product right now. It's on the iPad Pro. It's been there since 2017. And every year I'm like, this is the year we're gonna get it. And every time we just don't see it. Now, if this is a scenario where Apple was about to do this first, let's say that nobody else had figured out 120 hertz display on a phone, balancing that with optimization and performance, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna cut Apple some slack here. They may not have been able to figure it out because they're first. Nobody's done it. Is it even possible? But we live in a society where everybody else seems to have figured it out. And this is without a doubt a pro feature. If there's one thing that would be considered pro about the next iPhone, it was supposed to be the fact that the screen was twice as buttery smooth. That's not something that the average person would care about, but a lot of people that like tech, that's something that they would care about. Somebody like me or maybe somebody like you. Ross Miller is somebody who recently got 100% accurate on the Galaxy Fold 2 specs and has a pretty good track record of predicting screen refresh rates and resolutions and stuff like that. Is saying multiple times, has been saying the same thing for a couple of months now, that Apple's lines, the production lines themselves, to be 120 hertz compatible are not built. They're not coming until next year. And the fact that sources are telling him that this year the iPhone doesn't even have the hardware to support it, because there was some speculation that maybe Apple would enable it in software in an update later. It just wasn't perfect right away. Apparently the screen refresh rate technology called LTPO, where it can switch from 120 hertz to 60 hertz to 1 hertz, has a really positive effect on battery life. Apple's actually baked it into the Apple Watch Series 5, and that's how the always-on display technology works. That as well is apparently not even in the build for the iPhone this year. So that's the first thing where I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Everybody else has this feature, and you're telling me I'm gonna drop $1,000 on a phone in 2020, maybe a little bit more according to some sources, and it's not gonna have the flagship feature that everybody else in the industry has been able to figure out. And I just feel like the 12 Pro without this feature is already gonna miss the mark. Now, I look forward to being wrong here. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope Ross is wrong. I hope everybody else saying that it's not coming is wrong. But it doesn't seem like they are. Second thing, arguably more important than this, is again something that Apple seems to be lagging on, which is the size of the notch on the phone. Now listen, Buster. Let's calm down. Put the guns back in the holsters here. It's okay if you like the size of the notch now and you don't notice it. Hey, listen, I don't notice it either. In fact, I don't think that the current notch width is problematic, but I do think it looks outdated. And if you're really gonna sit here and argue that compared to, again, what every other manufacturer is doing, because believe it or not, we do live in a global marketplace. A couple of images have surfaced lately of some display panels that are for the iPhone 12 apparently, and size of the notch remains unchanged. Now, the first one I'm really concerned about. This one, because we saw another image recently that has, the flipped connotation. We have, evidence that it is actually getting smaller. I'm split 50-50 on this one, because a part of me that believes that everything's going to be okay is there's no way. This is a huge iPhone upgrade. It's the biggest one since the iPhone 10 3 years ago. There's no way Apple ships the same size notch. The other part of me is hey, there was a pandemic still happening. Apple had a really hard time developing the iPhone 12. What if they just ran out of time and couldn't get it right? They already pushed the release date of the phones back till mid-October, maybe early November. Usually they come out in middle of September, so a month delay. and engineers for months could not fly back and forth from the US to China because things were shut down due to the pandemic. I want to say that Apple figured it out, but also these images are leaking basically after the final production model is supposed to be complete. So like right now, somewhere in the world, there are Apple employees that are carrying around these essentially fully completed prototypes, like the final versions that we're going to be buying. And the fact that these images are leaking out of screens that don't have different notch sizes is really disappointing if that is going to be the reality. Because if you're trying to market a phone more than $600 that has the same size notch as the iPhone 10 and it doesn't have any upgraded screen technology, I mean, yeah, you're going to have cool stuff like better cameras on the back, 5G, the little metal refresh design that's more squared off, similar to the iPad Pro. Listen, that stuff is cool. But I feel like these are two features that Apple just cannot miss this year. And it looks like they could. It looks like they just might not happen. I just think that if Apple's goal is to sell a lot of these and they wish to be competitive in the marketplace, they're not going to be, which I'm pretty sure is what shareholders want. They want a phone that's just as good, if not better, than everybody else's. If they're missing these features, it's not going to be close. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to fight me? Do you want to square up outside of the local Arby's? Because I will be there tonight at 7 p.m. Listen, I know it's just a phone and that none of this actually matters. Like there's much bigger problems in the world, but this is just food for thought and things that like I'm concerned about, so I wanted to share that with you and keep you updated on like the latest stuff we're hearing for the iPhone 12. But now, welcome back to another video, guys. It's time for the positive happy train to arrive. Chew, mother truck, and chew. I'm your host, Mr. Happy here, and we wouldn't even have that good of news for the iPhone 12, but I do think it's important to talk about a couple of other things we've been hearing. First, that Apple's launch strategy for these phones might be kind of weird. So you know how they were delayed till October? A new report came in recently suggesting that the two 6.1-inch models would come out first. My guess is because Apple has already had a 6.1-inch screen out before, so that's like the easiest for them to replicate year over year. So the iPhone 12 Max 6.1-inch and the base iPhone 12 Pro 6.1-inch would come out in a first wave of releases, and then like the fringe sizes, the 5.4 small iPhone 12 and 6.7-inch giant iPhone 12 Pro Max would come out at a later date. I'm kind of split on this one. I could see them doing it just to sort of get like something from each line out. I do also feel like the 5.4 and the 6.7-inch models, though, are the most interesting, which is possible. I just don't know if Apple would do that. They've never done that before. They always launch like the iPhone XS and then the XR comes later, or they'll launch the iPhone 8 and then the 10 comes. Like they've never done one model of each line and then filled in the blanks later. So something to think about. This next rumor, though, you may have seen this floating around, that the iPhone 12 inside could actually have a ring of magnets. They almost look like a power icon, right? Which makes me like wonder if, is this actually real? Is this legit? It came courtesy of like somebody over on the Chinese social network. You guys have told me in the comments at least 500 times how to pronounce this. I think it's Weibo, right? But the images surfaced there, and then they were reposted by a couple of accounts on Twitter. Okay, but why would Apple put magnets in the iPhone 12? Well, you have to remember that they are actually actively working on a new version of AirPower. You guys remember AirPower, the product that Apple actually canceled themselves in I think March or April of 2019? It's coming back, and it is better than ever. Actually, I don't know if it's better than ever. I'm just assuming. So for a super quick TLDR here, AirPower was the idea that you could set your phone down on this Apple wireless charging mat anywhere, and you could charge your watch, your phone, and your AirPods with no defined location. Like they were gonna have all these coils overlapped, so you could set anything anywhere and it would start charging. Well, that created so much heat that Apple had to cancel the product because it wasn't up to their quality and testing standards. Now, I think that they found the solution. These magnets go directly around the wireless charger. So what if Apple said, okay, we couldn't figure out with these coils placed everywhere, but we still want that magic experience of your phone basically going just where it needs to. What if they made AirPower with that same ring of magnets on the inside? So when you set your phone down, it wouldn't have to be exactly where it needs to be. There could be, 3 sets of magnets around the mat. So you could place your phone in position 1, position 2, or position 3, and it would automatically lock on and snap in right to where it needs to go. Next, Apple Watch could be the same thing. Maybe there's a couple magnets in there. It goes right where it needs to, anywhere on the mat. So you essentially set these 3 things down, and rather than coils overlapped like crazy, creating so much heat and ultimately making the product not work, you could have specific spots for coils, and then these magnets, which don't make any heat at all, but that lock those products into place right where they need to be. That's a really good idea. And it will probably add a little bit of weight to the iPhone 12, but that's a cool idea. And we even have an image of the iPhone 12 case, like an official case from Apple. It's gonna have these magnets baked in there as well. That's your weekly update. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed hearing my voice. I love each of you so much. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Wear your mask. I feel like a parent right now. It means it's time to sign off. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed. Hit subscribe for more. And I'll catch all of you in the next one. Fingers crossed for the iPhone 12 to not be bad.